Good afternoon, greetings and welcome. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for our info session on becoming a developer in 2018. First things first, my name is Sobani Mutlamelo. I'm one of the founders of HyperionDev, and I come from Lesotho, based in Cape Town in the UK. So before we get started, I just need to double check a few things. In terms of sound, if you guys can hear me, can you please confirm by typing in the chat room? Okay, great stuff. Thanks, Jade. And while we are at it, just a little bit of admin as well. If you look at the top right corner of the presentation screen, you will see a sound or volume icon. Please make sure that that is not clicked at any point throughout the presentation because that will mute the sound and you will not hear anything. So that's out of the way. Also, if anyone struggles to hear me at any point in time, at the top right panel of the chat of this chat room, you will see an option of having trouble with audio and video. Just click that if you run into any trouble. That should help you troubleshoot whatever issue you might be experiencing. With that out of the way, I think that's pretty much it. And yeah, I will be taking you through the info session. So, and thank you for joining us again to this afternoon. It's a pleasure to have you all here. So, moving right ahead, we will be talking about why, or like how to become a developer in 2018, and why is it important to actually switch to a coding career in 2018, or rather in the next few years. Oh yes, no, don't worry. I've actually turned my video off because I'll be doing a slide presentation. So just look at the screen and we'll just go through the slides. Great. Yes. So the big question, why switch to a career in coding? Well, first of all, I think we can all agree here that technology is rapidly disrupting the world. I mean, from our daily routines, our daily life, even the way business is conducted. I mean, and this is just not in the tech industry, but in absolutely any field, from health, agriculture, cleaning, and all sorts of things. And also, if you look at your daily routines, for example, what things that we use on a on a daily basis actually need technology or use technology. For example, Uber, WhatsApp, Airbnb, Google Hangouts, all those things are tech driven. And what that means is simply that, eventually it is going to be pretty mandatory for everybody to at least invest in a tech skill or to acquire some tech skill knowledge. And furthermore, just looking at the US itself, according to the Department of Labor Statistics, there's, the software development jobs have been expected to grow at a 14 to 15% rate from now until 2024. And if you look at that, that's way, way, way faster than any sort of profession or any field. So that simply just says there's a need for a lot more people to actually invest in technologies. And moving right across, we also see there's a very huge tech skills gap in the West. For example, in the US as well alone, over 50% of all the STEM jobs were going to require some form of computer science knowledge. And I think that is why recently, I think the US state is already implementing or trying to make it mandatory for computer science education to be included at all schools across the country. And I think that's a very pretty good move, actually, given that in the next 4 or 5 years, everything will pretty much be tech based. And some countries already actually keeping up to that, catching up to that. So that's very interesting. And also, this also just shows a need to invest in tech skills, or rather to switch to a career in coding if you haven't done so yet. And moreover, also just looking at UK alone, we see that there's going to be a shortage of over 500,000 tech workers. And right at this point in time, I think this just says to us, if you are tired of your career or you want to move into a new career, the UK is a place to go in the next 4 or 5 years. So I think that's also pretty interesting and a huge opportunity there. And in addition to that, you know, with the rate at which, machine learning or artificial intelligence is rapidly growing and, taking over the world, can we I mean, what one then asks the question is the future safe with robot automation? I mean, we can already see that the amount of robots, the robot automation is already taking over in some of the jobs and fields. For example, you're starting to see models being replaced and, some telemarketers, for example. So I think none of us here want to end up being replaced or having a robot doing what you do on a daily basis. I mean, even better yet, why not learn how to code right now so that should your company or whatever the case could be deploy some robots, then you would be able to program those robots and operate them in that way. You are still safe. Furthermore, now, we've just gone through the demand and the shortage and, the possible opportunities that are there within the tech industry or having invested in tech skills. But in addition, a career in tech is it's a very empowering career and yet very rewarding. And this is just in terms of the earning potential. For example, not all careers, we have just noticed that tech software developers or software engineers or whatever the case could be actually earn a lot more on average than any other field as we've seen, and this is across the world. So looking at these here, this is an average. We've tried to gather data, just based on some of the major tech focused cities in the world, such as San Francisco, London, um, Cape Town, Johannesburg, Berlin in Germany, and so forth. And so if you look at it, and this is just at an entry level. So this is a very huge opportunity that imagine learning, some coding skills, and then right away you're able to actually, land life-changing career with this kind of earning potential. I think at this point in time, if anyone has been thinking about it or haven't been thinking about it, now is the time to actually make a choice, especially now that the new year is around the corner. And in addition, just looking at, for example, also on average, tech workers are the most paid. I mean, just look at you take home per annum an average of 100,000 US dollars. And you see, this is actually twice more than, most national wage, which is pretty much just over 50,000. This is some recent survey done by CompTIA. So also, guys, yeah, this is just to say, apart from, technology or investing in tech skills being very crucial or rather critical, but there's also a very huge opportunity there for someone who's coming from a non-tech background or from unemployment to learn coding and immediately have a life-changing career for them and their family too. And moving right across, also just to emphasize the point, and we actually looked at London software engineering salaries because we have been getting a lot of people come to us and taking our boot camps because they want to move to the UK. So we tried to gather some stats then just to see the kind of opportunities that's over there. And so as you can see here, the average London software engineer earns up to 60 pounds per year. And if you look at this, is over 50% more than the average salary across London. London is a very business focused city and it's very huge city as well. So again, if any of you guys are thinking of migrating somewhere or for better or cleaner pastures, I still say UK is a place to be. Yeah, and so just to wrap it up, in terms of the earning potential or salaries across the world, we just try to gather some from different countries. As you can see, the US is still leading with an average of 90K per annum, and also you can see countries like Israel or Norway, also pretty much in the higher ranks there as well. So again, this is just to say, in average, being in a career in tech is much more rewarding than you could think. Also, the good thing about it is that you wouldn't even have to quit your job right now or move to a different place to study. You can learn absolutely free just through an online coding bootcamp, and adding these skills to your current skill sets could just actually be able to enhance you. Yes. So, and now with all that in mind and with all those questions that we have looked at, the good news is that as HyperionDev, we actually have a solution for you through our boot camps. And so we'll get to that a little bit later. But we're just gonna chat more about would you wanna, take a boot camp with us now? So the answer is very simple. As you can see here, we have actually been endorsed. We are endorsed by, the leading tech giants across the globe, as you can see. In fact, so the Python Software Foundation has actually been supporting us the longest ever since we started. And, with Google, we've actually just recently launched very three comprehensive courses with them. And these are all Google accredited. And with Oracle, if some of you are actually certification oriented, we have actually worked with Oracle to align our Java courses towards their certifications. That's Oracle 1, Oracle 2. And most of our graduates have come, taken our boot camps, and went and passed their certifications and examinations. And so with the University of Cambridge, we were incubated by them at the Judge Business School, and we're actually currently working with their PhD researchers and candidates there on a white paper. We'll be releasing a white paper soon, probably in a month or two, just focusing on the educational models, especially in coding education, even, but zooming a lot more into personalized one-on-one mentoring and code reviewing, which is exactly the model that we use and how it can scale across. So that's some interesting stuff going on there. And once we release the paper, it will be published and you guys can have access to it through our website. So just a heads up, keep an eye out there. And then with Facebook as well, we have just partnered with them. We'll be launching a couple of courses with them in the next few months as well. So this is just to say, we have tried our best to actually make sure that all our courses or boot camps are at an international standards, and they actually prepare you to start a career. And with that in mind as well, this is just an example of some of our success stories. So you see, with our boot camps, we focus on people who are literally looking to switch careers into tech, or who are looking to start a career as a developer, software engineer. And these are some of the students that we have had coming from a completely non-technical background. As you can see here, somewhere in customer support. And right now they're working as very, very competent mobile developers and full stack web developers. And some of these students actually from the UK and across the world. To see more, to read more about our success stories, simply just go to our website /stories, or simply go to our blog with just to read more comprehensive stories. So that's blog.hyperiondev.com. It will be Amir, my colleague, will type the link in the chat. And so, furthermore, in addition to that, so we all know there's thousands of online coding boot camps, or rather MOOCs, and most of which actually use videos as their content. So we have a simple argument here. You cannot learn how to code from watching videos. In fact, probably in some other fields, you could learn something just by watching a video, but specifically in coding, imagine even to sit down for 2 hours watching a coding video and not being able to apply whatever you've just learned. That's pretty hard. And, that is to say, if you look at the history or some stats from some of the most popular MOOCs or online platforms, video-based and self-study, you will notice a very high dropout rate, and a lot of students are unable to actually complete their courses because I'll tell you what, in coding, you will need some sort of structure and at least somebody to guide you through and to help you see applying your whatever skills that you've just learned. And that is why we do not have any video-based content, and we actually specialize in a very high-touch one-on-one human mentorship, which I'll get more into in a later stage. So right now, so this is how our mentorship works. So obviously you'll code like a pro, and what that means is that, the mentor doesn't just say this is right or wrong, but pretty much they go very deep in comprehensively inline that inline coding feedback. And the way the mentorship works, or the way they assess your code, is just through, like, there's a specific, very clear criteria in terms of code readability, code structure, code efficiency, code optimization, and they guide you all the way through as you code. And this is just to ensure that at the end of the course, your code is it's industry ready, and you can actually go out and write some production code. And in addition, the mentor is always right there for you whenever you need them. If you get stuck, you just simply get in touch with them either through your code files or through our live chat, and they'll be right on the spot to help you. And obviously, I think just through this model, this has enabled us to achieve almost 100% completion rate on all our boot camps. Yes, and in addition to that, also the most important aspect of this. So here we've just tried to look at, if you, as you see, Thankful and Block. These are some of the top online coding boot camps, and we're just trying to compare our pricing point. As you can see, for our entire boot camp, 6 months upfront, our price point is at less than half their price point for the same amount of time and also the same amount of quality assurance. So we produce the same kind of quality, but we are able to offer that at a fraction of their pricing. Even much more than that. Their mentorship, they only have like one or two mentor sessions per week, and that's just video based. But we just go beyond that and say, you will have access to your mentor on a daily basis, coding together with you and getting all the sort of guidance and feedback that you need. So guys, if you still are not convinced at this point in time, I don't know how else to convince you, but I mean, just check us out and chat to us through our site. We'll always be happy to advise further. Yes, and so now we'll just dive more into the kind of boot camps that we have a range of coding boot camps, covering different domains of software development. And so these are we'll look at we have a full stack web developer boot camp. This is basically for everybody who's wanting to move into a web developer, become a full stack web developer. And these are so you will learn it takes you so the boot camps are divided into three stages or other levels: the beginner, intermediate, and advanced, and it takes you right through from the ground up, and you do not have to have any technical background or prior coding knowledge, because the way these boot camps are actually designed for people coming from a non-technical background or looking to switch into careers. So these are some of the most popular and recent technologies that you will learn. Learn how to create dynamic and scalable websites, data-driven, end-to-end, and web applications. So that's the full stack web developer bootcamp. Now, the mobile apps developer bootcamp as well. And right now, we're very focused on Android, and this is the bootcamp that we have also actually built, co-created with Google. As you can see, upon completion of this bootcamp, you are then eligible to go sit down for the Google certification exam, which is upon which you will then acquire the associate Android developer credential, which is very valuable, and you can take that and go work anywhere in the world. But yeah, we still have plans to introduce to include iOS as well, and probably the Windows platform later on. And then we have a software engineering bootcamp. So this is very, very hardcore for those people who are really looking to work in a very, very high intense tech environment, building software and large scalable applications and enterprise software and business solutions. So also in a similar manner, this has three stages: beginner, intermediate, advanced, and it goes beyond just the language syntax or and conventions, but also you will learn a lot about best practices in software development cycles, best methodologies, agile development, and at an advanced stage, we also dive more into computer science principles, such as you will start learning about data structures, computational complexity, all those things which are very fundamental and very key to you as a software engineer. Also, we try to include some aspect of data science there, some machine learning and some AI involved in there. So it's a very interesting one. It gets quite complex, but rather very interesting for those of you who are looking for a hardcore software development role or career. Yeah, so those are our three major boot camps, and those are 6 months long, obviously at your own pace, but we often recommend 10 to 15 hours per week as you work around with the mentor. And so this is just how our pricing is currently set up. We have three options: monthly, 2 installments, or upfront, which is 6 months upfront. And 2 installments is you pay 3 months first, and then later on the rest of the 3 months. As you can see, monthly is $899, 22.50 installments, and 3,555 upfront. So unfortunately, well, I know a lot of us here are also from South Africa. You can just do the maths based obviously on the rand dollar exchange, but you'll still see that this is still much more affordable, yet still maintaining the same quality. I need to see more options. Just go to HyperionDev/pricing, and then you see how that works. And basically, We also do not want to force people into the boot camp. That's why we actually have a free trial. So you can go to our website and register for any of the boot camps and start going through the free trial. So the free trial acts as like a preparation course, which sort of takes you through different sections, industry knowledge, try to build your portfolio there. So on the free trial, you get a chance to interact with us. You tell us who you are, what's your story in terms of your current experiences and your career objectives, and so that helps us to be able to match you with the most ideal or the most suitable boot camp. And through the free trial, you also get a chance to also interact with our mentors. As the trial asks you to submit some of the code snippets, so you can literally start coding while you're on the free trial and get some feedback on your code already. And then when you are ready, you just simply upgrade to the full program. So that's how it works. So yeah, just go to our website, guys, check it out, and start going through the free trial. And yeah, that brings us to the end of our info session. Thank you for tuning in. I've seen there's a lot of questions here on the text. I'm not sure if they have all been answered, but yeah, now we can just stick around a little bit and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Unfortunately, you will not be able to speak, but as you've been doing, just simply type the questions and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you so much.